What's up, guys? I am back here in Hanoi and just actually trying out this new GoPro 7 as a vlogging camera. I do want to look at getting something a lot more smaller, and I don't want to carry around my Canon DSLR because it's getting too luggy. All the lenses, all the power chargers and everything like that, batteries, bits and pieces, all sorts of different stuff. But I've decided to take the GoPro out and give you guys a little bit of a look of the area where I'm staying in Hanoi, Vietnam for now. This is like one of the alleyways here in Hanoi. They're really quite small, and you've got to watch out for corners that have motorbikes and people walking. Anyway, guys, the really good thing about this GoPro 7 too is it's got built-in stabilization, so you don't need a gimbal to use to try and stabilize it, which is really good because I mean the GoPro 7s are quite cheap now. I bought this one for like 350 US, which is about 500 New Zealand dollars, which isn't too bad. But it's going to be really handy for doing action stuff, vlogging stuff. I do think though the audio is not going to sound good on this, but we won't know until I get into post-production. If it isn't, then I will look at getting an external microphone, and I've looked at a couple of options, which is quite good, and I've bought a new housing as well, so that I can put the GoPro 7 in and then get an external mic, and that'll be the new vlogging camera. Anyway, guys, just taking you guys around the local area, going for a walk. I try and do like an hour exercise every morning here in Hanoi, Vietnam. And I'll just show you some of the street vibes here. So I've been in Vietnam for the past 5 months now, living in Hanoi, working on a few projects here. The really fantastic thing about living here in Vietnam is it's quite central to a lot of the other countries around it, and airline flights are really cheap. Like to go from here to Taiwan and back is something like 150 to 200 New Zealand dollars, which isn't too bad. Even if you wanted to go to places like Laos, it just costs around $50. If you want to go to Cambodia, be about $70. So flights to different countries in Southeast Asia is quite cheap if you are staying in a central location like Vietnam. Even to like Malaysia, China, Japan. Looking at planning a trip to Japan for the Rugby World Cup, and flights from Vietnam to Japan and back is about, I think it was 280 New Zealand dollars, which is pretty cheap. So yeah, I really enjoy staying here for that fact, plus a few other things as well, because living here in Vietnam is very, very cheap, less expensive than other places like New Zealand. I mean, you can live on, say, around 20 to 50 New Zealand dollars a week, easy. That includes food, rent, power, electricity, and petrol for your motorbike. Motorbike is highly recommended. Easier to get around and really cheap, especially in a city like this. Watch out for all these trucks. And I mean, to buy a new motorbike is around maybe 200 US dollars, 250 US dollars, which is really good. Probably about 300 to 400 New Zealand dollars for a really good Honda Wave, which is a really good bike. So yeah, it's been good staying here in Vietnam. I'm housed up here for a few months, and I'm gonna do a little bit more traveling, looking at heading to Japan, and just organizing an itinerary for Nepal and possibly India as well. But I am doing some projects here in Vietnam, so that's occupying a lot of my time, but hopefully in the next month or so I can free that up and get out there and do some more traveling for you guys. Yeah, the weather here at the moment is very, very hot. It is between 30 to 40 degrees. Summertime here, monsoon season, pretty much in Southeast Asia, Vietnam particularly. There are two seasons: rainy season, which is summer, and dry season, which is winter. So now we are in rainy season, which is the monsoon season. We haven't had any monsoon rains yet, but there are some that will be coming, no doubt. Anyway guys, I hope this audio is coming out pretty good for you, and yeah, I'm looking forward to using this camera for future vlogs, because of the compactness and the portability. I don't really want to be lugging around too much heavy equipment on my future travels. Pretty much just want to keep it tight and light would be the word. So having this as my main vlogging camera and my G7X Mark II as my backup and also night camera, that will be cool, as well as the Mavic drone, which is really handy to get those aerial shots for you guys as well. Alright guys, we have hit Lakeside. Lakeside, and if you don't know, in Vietnam, to cross the road you pretty much just cross and they'll kind of dodge you just like that. This is West Lake here in Hanoi. It's not the cleanest, as you can see. Even the fish here die from a lot of the pollution, but you got a guy fishing over there. You got people kayaking out there, and sometimes you get people actually swimming in here, but it does say do not swim in this lake. But see, there's another guy over here fishing. Man, this is the way it is. I mean, some of them even fish because they can't afford to buy food, so they fish out of this kind of polluted lake, which is their way of life here. Guys caught a couple of fish, I think. Anyway guys, just wanted to give you guys a bit of a look at the life on the streets here in Hanoi, Vietnam. Yeah, so after 6 o'clock, when it's dark, everyone pretty much comes out. They don't like the sun here. There's this cultural perception that you need to have white skin to be kind of accepted, or skin that reflects your status, and that status goes with having white skin. It's a cultural perception they have. I guess it's also prevalent in Australia and New Zealand, America, where they think brown skin tanning is beautiful. So these are like cultural perception things. But here in Vietnam, mainly Southeast Asia, Places even like Taiwan, up in Seoul, Korea, Thailand, they believe that, especially the women, believe that if you have white skin, you are regarded high status, meaning you have a high status job in an office. You're not out in the fields where you will get brown skin. That's for like lower status type people. So it's a cultural thing they have here. So you go to a lot of the supermarkets, you see like shampoos and facial products that have whitening in it. So I've got to be careful when I go and buy shampoo, because you're pretty much buying shampoo that comes with whitening substances in it to whiten the skin, kind of like Michael Jackson styles. So that's something to be real careful of if you do come to Hanoi, Vietnam, or anywhere in pretty much Southeast Asia, is to make sure you don't buy any products that have whitening in it if you don't want to have whitening. Just a little bit of information for those that aren't pretty much informed about some of the stuff here in Vietnam, Southeast Asia. Alright guys, that was a bit of a good workout. Done a bit of a time lapse with that workout, so I'm not sure how it'll look. But I am sweating up a storm here, which is a good thing. Now in Hanoi, around about 3 or 4 o'clock, it's pretty much the hottest time of the day. And if you are outside, I mean, that sun can be so harsh, especially on a humid day, where even if you're under the shade or under a tree, basically you'll just sweat. Sweat will just come pouring out. It's pretty much like a natural sauna. I think last year I lost like 20 kgs over a period of about 4 or 5 months. Just been out in the heat, which is cool. And I've lost about another 10 kgs. At one stage I was like 220 kgs, like 220 kgs. It's kind of like my biggest. I've gone down to about 115. So I've lost around 100 kgs. My goal is to try and get to like about 110, 105. I'll be happy. Good BMI for my height. And yeah, it's really helpful coming to a place like Hanoi, Vietnam, or anywhere in Southeast Asia where it's quite humid. If you can handle the humidity, then you'll be okay. Hey dog. So now I'm going to take you down one of the alleyways where I buy some of the local food. A lot of it is actually organic. As much as I like supermarkets here, they do import a lot of genetically modified foods, which I don't really like. So I pretty much just buy off the locals. I come to the alleyways where the locals sell their vegetables because it's from their own garden and it's organic, and that's kind of the vibe I'm into health wise. So yeah, if you do come to Vietnam and you want to grab you some organic food, check out some of the alleyways where a lot of the locals are selling, because pretty much they just sell to the locals. But if you know where to come, then they can sell to the foreigners as well. But places like the Old Quarter in Hanoi pretty much have a lot of supermarkets, so people are buying food there, which is genetically modified, which I don't really like. Anyway, I think I need to buy some tofu. tofu. Love this tofu. Hello, xin chào.
Xin chào. Tắt nhá. Hết nhá.
Yeah. Tofu is really delicious. A lot of protein in it as well. I pretty much make pho soup out of the tofu, which is real handy. Bao nhiêu tiền?
20.000. 20 tiền.
Meat here if you want meat. Veggies if you want veggies. Pretty much I just want some tofu. So if you haven't seen some of my other videos as well, I pretty much chuck the GoPro on the motorbike and do some motorbike time lapses and motorbike footage. If you haven't seen those, just to give you a little glimpse of the streets here in Hanoi. They can be very, very congested with motorbikes, which is really problematic if you are a first timer here to Vietnam and you don't know how to ride a motorbike. I recommend to use the Grab app to get around. Even if you are experienced in your own country on a motorbike, coming here to Hanoi, there's pretty much no rules on the street here, so you could be driving the right way, but you're going to get other people on your side of the road driving the wrong way, and then you're going to get dogs running across the road, even dogs pooing in the middle of the road while you're going at like 50 k's an hour. So you've got to have your wits about you. Then you've got to deal with people on bikes, pedaling, pedestrians, buses, trucks. So there's a lot of taken, and really it comes down to experience. So yeah, I pretty much got used to the motorbike here and how to read the motorbike flow and traffic. I found that it's pretty much best to go with the flow at the speed the flow is going at. If you're too slow, you're actually going to be a hazard and problematic. You may even crash because you're going too slow. So you need to go with the flow of the traffic at that particular time, or a little bit faster. Alright guys, there you go. Just a little glimpse of street life here in Hanoi, Vietnam, and a little update about what I'm doing, some of the gear I'm using, and what I'm going to get up to very, very soon. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you have. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. We'll see you guys on the next video. Experience the journey, inspire others, live life, guys.